You got an appointment? Appointment? Yeah, that's why you're here. Appointment? Not entirely out of the question. Convince me. Wouldn't mind a new bolter pistol. I've fired mine so many times, the tips nearly fell off. Let's give Mr. Kincannon a ring. Mr. Kincannon, got a person of interest here to see you. Think they've got business.
That sounds like our inspector. Please, send him up.
Why, if it isn't the inspector, I was hoping you'd swing by. Here for my alibi, I assume. Another murder? Drunk Raptidons? Black Hole Birdie practicing his hacking in the middle of the street? Stop me if it's one of those, or I'll just keep guessing. Sounds as though you've already sorted it out yourself. Perhaps you haven't sorted out as much as I'd thought. In short, Slug has not sent anyone to rough you up, Inspector. That would be acting against our own self-interest. Now ask yourself this: why would anyone give thugs Slug gear and send them after you? Right again, Inspector. But I can't fathom who would benefit from tarnishing my reputation like that. Can you? Oh, that's good. That's very good, Inspector. I like this. Dominant, aggressive, The man in charge. I don't want to accuse anyone without hard evidence, though it may be worth noting Ludovico has motivation in spades. So, as you've deduced, I did not send anyone from Slug after you, nor is it likely they assigned themselves that task. Still, I am sorry for the trouble, Inspector. With that settled, I assume you'll want to know where I was the night of Helen's murder. Let's see. That night, I was... torturing Elliot Nasser for information on missing cargo. That was a messy one. Didn't break until nearly noon the next day. Can you imagine? I could invent a better alibi than torture a man to death if you'd like. Perhaps something salacious, or one where I break contract bylaws. Lou would adore that. You'd be a fool to believe me, regardless of what I told you. People lie, and I am, incriminatingly, people. It's as I said. You shouldn't. If it helps, however, you might consider pursuing not my means, but my motive. Why in the name of the architect would I kill Halcyon Helen? She was making me a fortune. I'm considering a line of commemorative merchandise. Still, that's nothing compared to what Helen would have made us in the long run. I'd offer to assist you in your work, but I've a mystery of my own to solve, I'm afraid. Oh, Elliot stole from me, all right. Alas, you're right in that his was a singular, isolated incident, and as such, does not resolve a concerning broader trend. Items are disappearing from Slug's storage and processing warehouse. The thefts began a week before Helen's unfortunate death, and there have been more instances since. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. Nothing unsavory, and nothing Ludovico shouldn't know about, if that's your concern. I'm quite serious when I say Slug is a legitimate business. As to the specifics, I'm not sure. The warehouse foreman should be able to tell you. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. I'm not sure. I'm only confident there is one. That the theft began mere days before Helen's untimely demise is an extraordinary coincidence. I'm not a man who believes in happenstance, Inspector. I do not trust it. I certainly wouldn't take that bet. Regardless, this will be fun. You out in the field, chasing down leads, me scheming in my office, preparing to unspeakably mangle the perpetrator. You do recall, Inspector, that I'm not to be trusted? But certainly, whatever you say. You'll want to speak with Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman. I've cleared her as a suspect myself, but should she refuse to cooperate, shoot her. No, I'm joking. If she won't cooperate, tell me and I will shoot her. And do feel free to search my office for clues while you're here. Don't hold back on my account.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This copy of TK contains 142 fewer pages than a standard copy. The missing pages were likely removed to create sufficient space for the hidden listening device inside.
You figured that out just by looking at it? Huh. We ought to talk shop one of these days.
Inspector, please consider speaking into the device in order to trace the transmission and reveal the receiver's location. Poor woolly cow impression transmitted. Transmission analysis complete. While the precise location of the receiver could not be pinpointed, it has been narrowed down to a smaller, approximate range. Analysis inconclusive. However, there is a minor accumulation of dust particles present on the book's uppermost surface. 98.3% of the dust particles are less than 500 micrometers in diameter. This unit is glad to have been of service, Inspector. The area within a 0.5 meter radius of the book possesses a dust coating comprised of at least twice the number of particles. That is highly likely, Inspector.
What's that you found? No, wait, don't tell me. Let's save it for the big reveal once you've solved the case.
A cursory fingerprint analysis shows this display case was recently opened or closed. Confirmed. The grip has been modified for a specific wielder, most likely the rifle's owner. Additionally, the plasma rifle sights appear to have been realigned to better accommodate a shooter with slight myopia in one eye. The fingerprints belong to Cedric Kincannon.
Oh, admiring my rifle. Had it custom fitted by a woman on Monarch.
Slug's got a cozy operation here, but I like the crowd.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Transmission endpoint discovered. The receiver in this book matches the transmitter to the listening device found in Cedric's office. It's somewhat grime-covered. Based on the accumulated mix of sludge and detritus, the receiver has been present since approximately a week before Helen's death. Due to the high level of foot traffic in this area, this unit is unable to determine who placed the device.
Hi there! Sorry, this area is off limits to port vision. Oh, wait half a second. You're the inspector. Sorry about that. I'll buzz you right in. Feel free to have a look around, sir.
Hey, you think they keep any spare parts down here? Just wondering.
Easy does it.
Is Fight Night still on then?
Yeah, we're on. I got 500 riding on Dr. Billy taking it all.
You bet on a sprat named Dr. Billy? What's he a doctor of?
Victory.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The biology of this sprat is highly unusual. This sprat has been in contact with multiple parasites, yet shows no symptoms of infection. An excellent point, Inspector. The unique immunological subsystem found in sprats is advantageous in fending off parasites, pathogens, and other biological threats. A cursory analysis of this organism's anatomy suggests it was bred deliberately for its unusually large size. Based on slug records of board-issued punitive sanctions against sublight salvage and shipping, this sprat is most likely intended for cage fighting.
Hey there, little buddy.
Sublight Underground takes care of its own.
Sublight Underground takes care of its own.
You're the inspector, aren't you? Boss Kincannon said you'd be by about the cargo that's been going missing. Gosh, this is so neat. A real-life inspector. What's that like? Have you solved any mysteries yet? Ever had to shoot a suspect? Case. Just like a real inspector. Right, so the missing cargo. How can I help your investigation? That's the weird part. There's no pattern far as I can tell. The thefts don't make sense. I ask you, who would steal a handful of Spacer's Choice Sabers, so dull they can barely cut mud, but leave the spectrum black? Ugh. Who'd be desperate enough to want to steal a Spacer's Choice Saber, full stop? Yeah, probably not. No one's dumb enough to think Spacer's Choice Sabers are worth half a damn. Then there's the most recent theft, 5 boxes of pens and a couple of sodas. I can't decide which one's sadder. Well, I'm no inspector. If there is one, I'm sure you'll find it. Everyone here at Freight Storage and Processing, for a start. Thing is, the cargo is going missing before the shipments even get to the warehouse. Best I can figure, it's probably getting lost in the shipping yard. As for who has access there, Benton Chan, he's the shipping yard manager, he told me it's mainly just the loading automechs that handle cargo. Nah, Benton's too lazy for crime. The extra work would kill him. Last time I asked him to check the automechs, the whole head told me he couldn't help because he was dead. Yeah, especially when he kept shouting, "Dead people can't hear anything!" at me. On the bright side, I'm sure the dead won't mind if you decide to check those loading automechs out yourself. Hopefully, you're mechanically inclined. Maybe they're keen on cashing out and want to go as painfully as possible. I don't know. Boss Kincannon's office is where he holds most of his meetings with important folks like Miss Helen. Just about all negotiations happen in his office too. Vendor pricing, major purchase orders, rentals for construction projects, you name it. Oh, before I forget, I figured you might want to access my terminal, so I had a spare keycard made. It's all yours. I wish you were being sarcastic. Step lively, friend.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Inspector, this loading automechanical's programming does not match factory default settings. The standard defensive protocol has been modified to include an additional trigger. For Type K-19 cargo transport automechanicals, defensive protocol is triggered by attempted interference with cargo, or its transportation, or attempted destruction of the unit. Once triggered, defensive protocol targets the perpetrator and applies lethal force until the target has been deceased for a minimum of 3 minutes. There is a directive in place to initiate defensive protocol should an unsanctioned data log installed in this automechanical be removed. Slug automechanical maintenance records indicate this particular unit is frequently reported as out of position or missing for periods of time.
Loading automechanical unit K-14 is fully operational at 99% power. Please designate the cargo to be transported and its destination. How can this automechanical assist you? Access panel is open. Please be sure to close the access panel when you are done. Failsafe successfully disabled. Kill mode deactivated. Ejecting data log 17C. Apologies. This unit does not have access to cargo inventory lists. Unit entering standby mode. Have a nice day.
Inspector, to what do I owe the pleasure? Ooh, I love this part. The big reveal. So tell me, what happened? What makes you say that? Damn, you're good. Hacking the Automex. So that was our skimmer's game. But why? Everything that was stolen has seemed random. I certainly see no pattern. A cover-up. I see. The random theft was a smokescreen to hide what the culprit really wanted. I must say, Inspector, you've done excellent work on this case. Then that just leaves how the culprit knew where their true target would be, or indeed, that Slug would soon possess it. Okay, that's very impressive. Don't ever touch me again. Am I right to think what you found in my office earlier was the other half of this listening device? Not quite, Inspector. That listening device belongs to me. I lent it to Halcyon Helen to assist her with role research. Unbelievable. I helped her, gave her whatever she needed. I thought we were doing each other a good turn. This is a betrayal, Inspector. I do not take betrayal lightly. Helen should consider herself very lucky indeed that she is already among the dead, and that some other bastard beat me to putting her in the ground. Halcyon Helen is already dead. If I'd known Helen was stealing from me, I may very well have killed her, or had her killed. Alas, I did not. Oh, that is good, Inspector. Now you are thinking in the manner you must if you intend to get to the bottom of this mess. I wish you luck with your investigation, though I doubt you'll need it. You'll find Helen's murderer. I'm confident of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must find a way to excise my anger that minimally damages my business empire. I expect it will involve shooting quite a lot of guns.
Cedric is quite the circumspect individual. Unfortunately for him, he's not as smart as he believes himself to be, and that may very well lead to his downfall.
Bertie Holcomb couldn't have killed Miss Helen, right? Oh, I'm glad I ain't the only one feeling that way. He's got a good heart. He sounded like he was real fond of Miss Helen. I just can't see him hurting her like that. Poor guy. I can't imagine what he's going through right now. I'm sure Miss Helen would appreciate that.
What the? I was going to wash my hands, I swear.
Inspector, not a moment too soon. I've just finished my autopsy report. Ruth Bellamy was killed by plasma damage to the upper vertebrae, the occipital bone, and the cerebellum. If it's any consolation, her death was instantaneous and painless. I've also discovered a poisonous compound in Miss Bellamy's stomach lining ingested during her last meal. Toxic, but not enough to kill her. Spencer Woolrich complained of a stomach ailment around the same time period. I assumed he was being, Spencer. But now I'm not so sure. The thought occurred to me. I tested this hypothesis by vacating the contents of my stomach and testing for the presence of the same toxin. Slightly elevated levels of mercury and an alarming amount of blue food coloring. But other than that, no. I'm certain it wasn't, as you put it, just the hotel food. I did science. You know, my profession. Oh, most certainly. Well, possibly they were trying to make her extremely uncomfortable, but I suppose killing her would also satisfy that criterion. Conversations with Mr. Woolrich tend to spontaneously transform into monologues. You'll find him on the VIP guest floor. I'd best return to work, Inspector. Autopsies always whet my appetite, and all this talk of food is distracting me.
I don't know if I trust Mr. Kincannon. And I get the sense he'd be real disappointed in us if we did trust him.
Whether he murdered Ruth or not, Bertie's primal-like ungainliness has nearly killed my enjoyment of tossball. There should be a certain elegance to a well-placed elbow to the face.
What floor would... Oh, so sorry, but you... What authorized... Oh...
The Grand Colonial Front Desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector? I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please.
What? If you see Black Hole Birdie, be sure to get an autograph for me. Just joking. I've already got one.
Hey there, you a fan?
I'm getting worried about our mascot. I haven't seen him for a spell.
Zeke Hannigan, Rizzo's Rangers 16th back. Pleased to meet you. What can I do for you? Oh, you must be that inspector people have been talking about. It's a damn shame about Miss Helen. She was always real good to me and the rest of the Rangers. Birdie's taking it pretty hard. Miss Helen was the love of his life. So, what did you want to know? Oh, Birdie was mad about Helen. He was certifiable. The big galoot loved Helen about as much as he loved the game. Trouble is, Birdie was not blessed with an abundance of temper. Helen kept Birdie steady. If he lost his temper around her, it'd be because something broke between the two of them. What? Law, no. Birdie's got a fierce temper, but there's no way he'd ever have laid a finger on Miss Helen. Miss Helen was outspoken. She made her share of enemies on account of her expressing herself. Just between you and me, I heard rumors the Prophet never much cared for Helen's brand of blunt honesty. I'm ashamed to admit it, but me and a couple of the other Rangers spent the night in Constable Keen's cells down at the spaceport. We didn't do anything serious, just a bit of pranks and vandalism. It's what usually happens when we all get to drinking. Guess Constable Keen saw things a bit differently and had us hauled off. No, we lost him somewhere along the way. Or maybe he managed to get away? I can't rightly remember. But he was definitely not sharing a cell with us. That much I know. What can I do for you?
What in the... How... Never mind. I don't think I want to know.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Multiple discrepancies detected. First discrepancy. A woolly cow is present in this hotel room. Woolly cows are an import species for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve and are incapable of affording upper-class accommodations. Second discrepancy. This woolly cow is dangerously inebriated with Rizzo Spectrum vodka. Alcohol sanguinization ratio exceeds recommended maximum. An accurate observation, Inspector. This woolly cow is suffering from symptoms consistent with a hangover. A brief survey of this area reveals that the most recent occupants were athletes belonging to the Rizzo's Rangers Tossball Club. A brief survey of localized property damage, divided by the area of this room, yields the following estimate. This unit was likely occupied by every member of the Rizzo's Rangers. -1.
Understood. I'll keep my head down. Nice.
Hotel rooms don't feel like home until you mess them up some. This one's real cozy. What do you want to know? Yeah? Oric's a businessman. He sells stuff you can't get elsewhere. You know, alternative stuff. We're talking sort of science, crockery, whole supplements. Probably. I can never remember. I just know I trust Oric more than I do any sawbones. Maybe putting effort accelerators in your body isn't always the right call, you know? Maybe there are other options. Maybe I don't take all the accelerators Rizzo's pushes on me. People get worked up about this kind of thing is all. Not that my personal business should be any concern of theirs. Yeah? What do you want to know? I remember sending her the recording, but law, I was halfway to preserved by then. I don't know what was on it. When I realized what I'd done, I panicked. If I'd said something dumb, folks might think I was involved in her death. I was scared of looking suspicious. I wish that were the dumbest thing I ever did, but it's not. What about her? Rival actresses, maybe? I don't know too much about the motion picture industry. Except for Helen's pictures, obviously. Those I probably know by heart. Seen them about 100 times each. I wish I knew. Must have been something I did. At the picnic, Helen just kept saying she didn't want to drag me into her world. Maybe one of the higher-ups in motion pictures was giving her trouble over us? I don't know. I tried to understand, but I don't. Look, you and me, we both know I'm a big, dumb tossball star, right? That's what I'm good at. Rizzo's knows it. The fans know it. Helen, she saw me as more than that. She saw someone who had more to offer than big muscles and a signature black hole stomp. Being with Helen was magic. She was magic. There ain't good enough words for something as special as what we had together. What do you want to know? What do you think you're doing? I don't got time for this.
Great work.
Nicely done.
Initiating banter protocol. Now simulating familiar and welcoming demeanor. Greetings, theater aficionado and/or dumbstruck fan. You are standing in the vicinity of Burbage 3001, the latest and therefore greatest automechanical actor ever designed. Burbage 3001's programming is frequently upgraded to adhere to board-certified standards. The most recent upgrade was performed by Spencer Woolrich. Banter protocol exhausted, reverting to default behavior, grieving and despair. Oh, Halcyon Helen. May your atoms be commended to the Aether. Burbage 3001 was designed to disrupt Halcyon Helen's monopoly over the Aetherwave serial market. This unit's programming is based on Helen's most famous roles. Burbage 3001. Anything Halcyon Helen can do, this unit can do slightly worse. Now running shock and dismay protocol. What's this? Helen's death was a murder? How horrifying. Bring that killer to justice, designated authority figure. This unit has not yet completed its grief cycles, randomizing despair tables. Oh, Helen, is there no justice in the world?
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry lout. Expect a complaint to management. Now, unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology. I'd give you a stern admonition. But your bluntness suggests that you aren't with the hotel staff. Oh, now, this is curious indeed. Who are you? And how did you get in here? What a quaint claim. You're so adorable. I won't even call security. No, really, I mean it. You've most certainly endeared yourself to me, and I think I know why you're here. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard. I'd be delighted. Oh, damn. My pen's out of ink. I'll just get you a portrait of my face as a souvenir. I'm sure I have the prints around here somewhere. By the by, how did you get in here? The only non-staff individual cleared to enter guest rooms is supposed to be the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh. Oh! Hello. Hi. Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in the Marauder's Bane, the absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer. Oh, have you now? Please do go on. Don't leave me in suspense. I did indeed. With Halcyon Helen parading her fame about, I was left without an acting partner. Burbage is no exception. His acting protocols were nothing short of a joke, so I decided to make some modifications, installing him with some of my old serial quotes as, I think, improved his range. The way he bungled about with that weapon of his hardly befitted a dissident, so I modified it as well. He's much quicker on the draw now, though he's still a machine. I'm quite used to being breathlessly watched. Certainly, but one quick question before we begin, if I may. How was it that Bellamy met her end? Why, I'm merely worried for my own sake. Perhaps whoever came after her could come after me next. But if you don't want to tell me, I understand. Whatever happened, I hope poor Bellamy didn't suffer. Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way, unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids. I'm not too proud to admit it. I couldn't get work on my own. Whether or not I wanted to accept it, Bellamy had captured the eye of the colony. People kept talking about the charisma we had on screen, but I felt more chemistry with certain teacup canids than with her. As you may have been able to conclude, I wasn't terribly enamored with Bellamy, but that doesn't mean I'd kill her. Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of. I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character. Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while meditating. All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much. Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it, a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her yet, you really should. I'll answer whatever you wish. I suppose that is enough on that grim subject. Indeed. The agonizing bowel pain was most undignifying. While I've certainly had no shortage of inadequate hotel meals, this was most explicitly pronounced. I suspect poison. And who would be most likely to poison me but Chef Anwar? Oh, we've clashed almost non-stop about his slop preparation. He must have tainted my meal in retaliation. Is that a jibe? Could you imagine the tabloid headlines? Spencer Woolrich, Aetherwave star, spotted in gastronomic distress. Oh, unseemly hardly describes the half of it. How alarming! Whoever targeted her was certainly targeting me. I can only thank my ironclad constitution that I'm standing here before you. Oh, that's very good to know. Perhaps the poisoner simply meant to incapacitate us both, disrupt the product launch. I couldn't say, Inspector. I'm merely an actor. None that I can think of. I treat all hotel staff equally, and with the minimum level of respect that they deserve. Very well, then. Oh, must I relive that ghastly event again? My intestines still have yet to fully recover. But I suppose we may discuss it further. Very well, then. I'm sure you're joking. Perhaps I'm not in my prime, but you've no doubt seen the name Spencer Woolrich on many a serial advertisement throughout your travels. Come now, I'm sure I would have made more of an impression than that. Could I have really fallen so far behind the times? Did you ever see me in The Masked Marketeer? The Busker of Byzantium? What about episodes 13 and 190 of Princess of Hephaestus? And who could forget From Halcyon with Love? I was great in that movie. Even if I was starring beside a 2-ton bucket of bolts and a woman with no talent. I think that's a bit of a stretch, don't you? If you're going to come after me, I expect evidence. unless you want to be smacked with litigation. Smacked!